And that's just the reality of owning plants. It's not always going to be smooth sailing, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that you can't do it. Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Angel for those of you who are new here. And I felt like it was about time to do another plant mom confessions. The last time I did this was 4 months ago, but I felt like it would be a good time to update you guys on the plants that I've killed because I just went through my first winter season with all of my plants, and yeah, some of them died and some of them died earlier than that. Some of them were on their way out when I filmed my first plant mom confession video. And that's just the reality of owning plants. It's not always going to be smooth sailing, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that you can't do it. I have my plant app, and anytime I kill a plant, I put it in my graveyard so that I can reference it later, like when I do one of these videos. So let's take a peek. The first one, and the one that I'm kind of sad about, is my Chinese evergreen. So this one was the Lady Valentine, or Lady Valentine. That's probably how you pronounce it. I bought both of my evergreens together. There was just something about the Lady Valentine one that just never seemed to do that well. They were both the same size, and I noticed that the soil was staying really moist even though I wasn't watering it. I ended up repotting it with like fresh soil and seeing if that would help, but over time it just continually lost more and more leaves until it was like 2 stems, and it didn't matter where I put it. It didn't matter how little water I gave it. I let the soil completely dry out, and it was just losing leaves like crazy. So I don't know. I kind of feel like it wasn't really my fault because I was able to keep the other silver bay alive, and I mean, it's flourishing a lot, like it's doing really good. So I don't know. I feel like maybe it just started off on the wrong foot and I just couldn't save it, and I'm really sad about that because I really did like that one because of just the pink variegations through like the foliage and everything. It's a really pretty plant, and maybe I'll get another one in the future, but I probably won't start that large. If I can find like a smaller one, I'll probably do a smaller pot. And then I had these 2 really large succulent pots. One I had on the inside of my house and one I had outside. They were labeled as string of buttons, but I don't really think that that's what it was. I was really taking a risk bringing it into the house, and honestly, I won't say that I necessarily killed it as much as I just didn't care about it anymore. And maybe that's sad to say, but it wasn't as cute. Like, I definitely should have just left it outside on the ground because it was doing just fine out there. But yeah, they ended up just dying. The outside plants completely died because I did not bring them in soon enough, and so they all turned to mush. All of my succulents turned to mush outside, which I was pretty sad about. But yeah, I probably should have just tried to see if somebody wanted them. Then, oh, I had my angel wing, which that was the caladium, the bicolored caladium. I don't know what I was thinking trying to get that plant. Even from the start, it never did well. I think even when I did the plant haul video for that particular group of plants, at the time it wasn't even doing well. I shouldn't have bought it because I don't really know anything about caladiums, and I thought it would be easier than it was. Then I researched that like sometimes caladiums will go dormant and they'll lose all their leaves. So I don't know if that's what happened, but I ended up just giving up on it because it just wasn't ever doing well. So what's the point of having a plant that's just never going to do well for you? I don't think I'll ever get one of those again because it just didn't interest me. If they're gonna be so high maintenance just because, like, that's not really worth it for me, honestly. Same with my elephant's ear. That one I am very sad about because I had that one for a while, and I think that it was the same situation with the caladium where I don't know if it was just going dormant or what, but it had been doing really good, and then it just started dropping all of its leaves and looking really sad and pathetic. And again, I don't want a seasonal house plant like that. Like, I realize that plants go dormant, but if your dormancy is dropping all of your leaves and looking like a dead plant, like, that's not my vibe. I don't want that. So I don't know if that's what happened with my elephant's ear, or if it had like a pest or what, but it was dying. I tried everything I could do to save it, and when I just knew it wasn't happening, I ended up just getting rid of it. Okay, this is a twofer. So I had gotten a pitcher plant online. It looked like crap when it got delivered, so I contacted the seller and they gave me a replacement plant, but I mean, I tried to keep the other one alive and it just didn't survive at all. Both of them, even the replacement plant that they sent me, did not have healthy or mature pitchers. And I was scared to try and like fertilize them, because if you give them fertilizer, then they won't produce the pitchers or produce the bile that is in their pitchers to self-fertilize. So yeah, I don't know if that was a contributing factor or not, but the first one, yeah, went out the door real quick after I got it. The second one, I felt like I kept alive a little bit longer. Somebody had mentioned that they do better in like sphagnum moss, so I ended up transplanting my second pitcher plant into sphagnum moss. I actually had a whole video on that. And I thought it was doing well, but yeah, it just didn't. And I want to say that it's because it never had healthy pitchers, but it probably could have just been me not knowing what to do for it. I don't think pitcher plants or carnivorous plants are for me. Not until I learn some more about them, for sure. A lot of times when I see that a plant is dying and there's just like no hope, when I'm taking it out of its pot to see if I should just give up on it or not, and it has roots, I'll try to put it in water and see if it can kind of come back to life. I've had a lot of success doing that with my plants. So my coffee plant was on its way out. My coffee plant's pretty sad right now, but it's in water and it still has some leaves. So I'm giving it a couple months, and if it doesn't grow a new leaf out of this, then I'm just gonna give up on it. But it has roots, so that is the reason why I'm keeping it. Like, these are nice and healthy roots, so we'll see. And one of those successes, actually I have two of those, but one of them is my string of dolphins. So if you follow me on my Instagram a while ago, I had talked about my string of dolphins and I showed it, and it was like tiny. It was super tiny. And I asked you guys if you thought that it could come back, and you guys said yes, and it sure did. I mean, this is pretty puny, you know, for a plant, but it was very small. It was much smaller than this when I almost gave up on it, and it's grown a lot. So this is one success, but my even bigger success, and the one that I am truly like the happiest that I was able to save, my peace lily. Can you believe that this is my peace lily? For you guys who have been following me from the start, if you remember, my peace lily used to be gigantic. It was literally one of my OG plants. Way back last year in March, I went and bought a jade plant, a big old peace lily, and a golden pothos. And I still have my golden pothos. My jade did not last long at all. And then I had this peace lily, and it was huge and it was beautiful and it flowered for me. And yeah, I just was slowly killing it because I just didn't know what I was doing. I was gonna give up on it. I really was. So I went through the roots and the soil, and there was this really nice chunk of roots. So I put it in water and it grew these 3 leaves. And that's how I knew that it was gonna be okay once it did that. So I put it in this little pot, but I'm just keeping it in my kitchen window that is shielded, and that's where I keep a lot of my plants that I'm nursing back to health, on my kitchen window, because it's very low light, and with the water from doing dishes and everything, it gets like a little bit of humidity. And I'm really excited for this thing to keep growing. Like, this is honestly, as a plant parent, one of my proudest moments was to be able to save this thing. I'll be happy once it keeps growing, of course, and maybe I'll be able to come here, Bubby. Well, guys, that was all the plants that I've killed. So I think, considering the fact that I had 70 plants, I did pretty good for my first winter. And hopefully I won't have another one of these for longer than 4 months. Maybe 6 months, maybe a year, until I have to do another one of these. We'll see. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.